Frank, I just watched your last video. Very cool, man. Um, I like the stuff you're playing over the 251s. Very diatonic, so very within the key. Um, but also, I like your phrasing and I like how you're accenting, not accenting, but accentuating the important notes so that you can hear the chord movement. So it doesn't sound like you're just playing scales, which is good, real good. A lot of people, when they play diatonically without any accompaniment, you can't hear, like it just sounds like they're just playing random scales and you can't even hear the changes. So it's good that you're kind of accentuating the key notes. Um, Obviously, and I've mentioned this before, and I'll keep repeating myself just to drive the point home. There's always more that you can learn. I'm trying to establish a sort of foundation for you to be able to play this tune with the material you have in hand at some level where it's a solo guitar swinging version of this before getting too deep into um, you know how to spice up your playing, or maybe I mean, I'm not against dealing with some of that stuff, of course, but that's my sort of goal. And one of the reasons for that is, as I sort of said on the website, is there's so much information out there. Like, if you want to learn how to play better over a 251, while I do think having a relationship with a teacher is probably still the best way. I mean, it's not like you can't just download, a million YouTube videos and instructional videos and books. I mean, there's just so much information that, I feel like the coaching method, where I'm sort of guiding you step by step on putting this stuff together, is what I'm mostly focused on. Now, all that being said, like recently you asked me for some chordal ideas, and that's great. I am 100% thrilled to help you with that stuff. So even though I said all of that, if you have questions about specifics, like, I'm just not sure what to do, or I'd like some new ideas on this, it's no problem for me to help you with that, make a quick video like I did with the chords. So keep that in mind also. Okay, so for today's assignments, the first assignment, and this is actually 3 assignments. I want 3 examples of this. So I want you to start at the beginning of the tune and play it like you're performing the tune, with all the considerations about the time feel and being relaxed, and the intro, all that stuff. I want all of that included. You play all the way through the intro, the chord melody, and into the form of the tune where you're going to solo, and you're going to solo over um, the first A section, and then the B section. So that's we got the C major, then the C minor, then the D, D flat, C. That's the A section. Then the bridge. Then the B section, which is the 2-5-1 and C. That we just did the 2-5-1 and E flat and back. Then there's another A section after that. So you're going to solo over that. So you're going to do A, B, A, and then you're going to stop. Because we didn't get to the last section yet, and we're going to get to that now in a minute here. But so I want 3 versions. Now you can just hit record and play it, and if you screw it up, stop. And when you get a decent version, it doesn't have to be perfect. I want it to be, should be in time and not have any major flaws timing wise, but what you're striving to do during the improv sections is to mix chords and lines, because that's the stuff you've been working on, right? Now, it doesn't have to be some percentage chords and some percentage lines, and it doesn't have to be chords in one part and lines in the other. You're working on being able to have a flow, right? You're to be able to um, play lines and chords like where they come out. Now, if you have to do a little mental pre-planning, that's okay too. If you're having trouble with the free flow and you're like, all right, let me have an idea, game plan that I'll, play. I'll start out with lines and then I'll go to chords and come back to line. Something like that's fine. Whatever tricks, but the perception should be at least that there's a free flow, and hopefully it shouldn't. The internal feeling that you have should be somewhat free, even if it's not completely free. That you have some kind of a plan, but it's not like a memorized piece of music, and so that's part of it. And there's a lot of important things to this exercise that I really can't stress enough, like being able to start at the beginning of the form of the intro, go through the whole chord melody, and then launching into improv and keeping that improv going in time throughout an A, a B, and an A is much more useful than just doing one little section at a time. It builds your ability to maintain concentration and endurance and all the things that, when you first saw that video of me that led you to contact me, where I was just playing that tune, I think it was Speak Low. I mean, to get to that point, you have to practice the things that'll get you there. And just playing the little specific sections and hoping you can then put them all together is not the answer. The answer is to be able to play the chord melody all the way through and then play 3 sections together and, and practice that way as if it's a performance. So I want 3 versions of that. So when you practice, just record yourself practicing each time. And, I do it all the time. I'll just record myself, or when I'm working on tunes, I'll often just video myself. Now I used to do audio, but now video is so easy. I'll just video myself doing it, and then sometimes during the practice phase, I'll watch it just to be like, what, how, I thought that sounded good, but let's see, and then often I'll be like, oh, that sounded terrible. What was I thinking? Or sometimes I'm like, that did sound good. So just getting in that habit is useful. It's also, I find that, and you may be finding this too, that when you're recording yourself, it's a little bit closer to being in a performance than just playing without recording yourself at home. It's not exactly the same. The pressure is not the same, but you do feel some pressure because the recorder is on, to not screw it up. And that pressure is important. To feel some pressure is better than no pressure. So 3 versions from the intro and all the way to ABA, some mixture of improvising chords and melody. And for the next exercise, I'm just looking for lines and chords, similar to what we did on the last section, over the final section of the tune. And just to clarify the chord changes, I think the fake books have different things written depending on what book you're looking at. I know they often have this descending, like D minor over C, then B half diminished to E, then A minor over G, F sharp B. All that is fine, but for our purpose of comping, we don't need to think about those moving bass notes. It could just be D minor 7 for a measure, then B half diminished E7, all within a measure, then A minor for a measure, and then one measure with a 2/5 F sharp half diminished B7, then E minor A7, D minor G7, C, then G sus. So I'll give you an example of comping on that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I mean, you don't have to play those voicings or what I did or anything, but just I want to hear what your concept is for comping on that. You can send me a couple of those. If you have questions and are not sure what to play, that's fine too. At any, just send me the questions instead. Be like, I don't know, that's fine. Also lines over those chord changes. Um, so I'll give you an example. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Um, Same thing, like just not those lines, but whatever you would do if you're confused about what to play or how to make it sound right, that's fine. We can work together to figure out some stuff that will work, or I could show you new stuff that you can work on while you're, just while we're simply finding some way to deal with it. So all that is fine. That is probably the trickiest sequence in the tune. So, um, you know, it is for a lot of people anyway. It's not super tricky, but it's maybe trickier than the other parts of the tune. So, just some idea of where you're at with that stuff. So, everything's going great. Hope you're doing okay, my friend, and keep up the good work. All right, man.